Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Managing Marketing Campaign Requests with monday.com. You should be able to see my screen, but if you can't hear me or see the screen at any point, just let me know in the chat. I'm Vera, a Customer Experience Manager here at Monday, and I'm really excited to have you all here with us today. Today, we're diving into a topic that every marketing team knows way too well: how to manage campaign requests efficiently. Because let's be honest, if you work in marketing, you've seen it. Product wants a launch, sale wants a new email sequence, HR wants something cute for Employee Appreciation Week, and so it goes. And at some point, it gets almost impossible to keep up with who asked for what, where things stand, and also what is supposed to go live next. So today, we're going to build a workflow that will help you collect all the requests in one place, stay organized, and save time with automations and AI, all inside monday.com, so you can focus on what really matters for you and your team. And to make things easier for us to understand, we're going to dive into the world of Llama Lab. Llama Lab is a large company with a busy marketing department. They manage campaigns for internal teams across different departments like product, sales, and HR, and they also handle marketing requests for external partners who collaborate with them on joint campaigns. Their challenge: how to keep track of all the requests and make sure not only that they will be launched on time, but also that nothing will be missed. And today, we will see how they manage to make this process easier and more organized with monday.com. And this is something that I'm going to remind you throughout the whole webinar. Everything that I'm showing you here is just an example. Monday is completely flexible and customizable like a Lego. You get the same building blocks, but you can decide what you're going to create next: a car, a castle, or in our case, a marketing workflow that fits our processes. So let's start. At Llama Lab, a huge global company that has an incredible marketing department, every marketing campaign starts with a form. This is where people can request a new marketing campaign. For our use case, I added several questions that are relevant for us, like, for example, the campaign name, who's requesting it, their department, the type of campaign, the target audience, the complexity of the project, the launch date, and many others. But this is just my setup and what works for me and my team. You can always add, edit, or remove any field that you want. You just need to click here on Edit Form and you'll be able to do all of that. When you're editing the form, you can also make specific questions mandatory by just clicking on the question here and then deciding which of them are required. And that way, we can make sure that no one is going to skip the important details, and we will always receive complete and structured information from whoever is submitting the request. And of course, forms have tons of other customization options, from conditional questions, like this one here, to design, to language settings, and you can check all of them here in the editing section. And if you would like to explore all those capabilities in depth, make sure to check our dedicated Monday form webinar. It's really good, and I highly recommend it. And if, for example, you would like to share this form externally, you can just click here on Share the Form, or even generate a QR code for the form by clicking here, and you can even post it on your website. Now that we've seen how to create a form manually, let's save some time and use AI to generate exactly the same form in just a few seconds. We just need to click here to create a form from scratch. And the moment it opens, we will have the option to use AI to generate the form. I have a prompt that is very similar to the one I use for the Llama Lab one. And I have to say, I'm a slow typer, so I'll just copy and paste what I wrote. Here is the prompt that we're going to use. And I'll just submit to our AI. We just need to submit, and then in a few seconds, this is the form that we're going to see. And of course, you can always tell AI if something should be changed or added. We can just click here and say, please add an email column. And AI will do the job for us. Now, think about how much time we can save by just creating a prompt and let AI create the whole form. Now that we know how the form works, let's go back to the place where all the answers from the board will land, our marketing campaign request board, right here. Here is our marketing campaigns request board. The board is where we have all the answers to the form's questions, and also where we will manage the communication and processes from the moment a new request is submitted. I have organized it by groups, so you can see here that I have new requests, in progress, ready to launch, and completed requests. Let's open the new request one here. Every column that we see comes from the form, the campaign goal, the target audience, the channels, and so on. And every time that I add a new question to the form, it will automatically create a new column in the board. We don't need to check each answer one by one because everything is just displayed in one place. And we can see everything when scrolling here to the right. And I would like to take a moment to talk about one of the columns that we have here. As we know, many teams might use external tools or platforms to create their designs or ideas. That's why we added a link column in the form where they can share a link to external space. It could be a Figma file, a shared drive folder, or any other external platforms that they are using. This way, everyone in the team can open the link directly from the board by just clicking it here, from requests to creative assets, and everything is live in just one place. Now, think about how much time you can save but not having to look on your email and find the right reference that each person sent to the project. Now, let's see what the Llama Lab team can do with all the information that they receive from the form. I know we have everything here in just one place, but why stop here if we can just summarize all of that and put it in one doc? I created a monday.com column for each campaign. You can find this type of column right here by just clicking on plus and then looking for doc. That way, we don't need to scroll across all the board to know what our team needs. The moment I created the column, it gave me the option to insert AI, as you can see here. And this is what I did. I used our amazing AI assistant and asked for it to summarize all the columns and answers from the form into just one place. And I'll show you in a second the prompt that I created. You can see here that I used all the columns and explained exactly how the summary should look like. This prompt took me a while to write, but that's okay, because that's how we'll make sure that AI will do exactly what we want. It's important to take some time to write and make sure to highlight what is important for you to have in the summary, as I did here. In a few seconds, the moment that the form is submitted, you will have a summary and the highlights of everything I need to know about the project that I'm going to be working on. Think about how much time that saves compared to manually reading through every single answer and writing a summary yourself. Besides having the summary, we can also use the Monday doc in many different ways, and you can find most of them here by just clicking on plus and then going to more options. We have the options to insert images. We even have the options to insert a whole board or charts into our doc, and we can also tag people to make sure that communication is all in one place, as you can see here. I highly recommend exploring everything that can be inserted in a doc, because this is not just a document. It's also a different way to display your data and communicate with your team right where the information is. Now, let's check what else AI can do for us to optimize our board. To make things even easier, I added 2 other AI columns to our board, and both bring a lot of value to the workflow that we're doing today. But before I show you them, let me just take a step back and show how you can add AI columns. All you have to do is just to click here to add any other column. Then you can just type AI, and you see several options of columns that you can add to your board, and choose the one that works for you. The first one is a custom AI column that creates a short social media post based on all the information that we have in the Monday doc. You can see here that I created a template and a very short prompt, and I used the doc as a reference. So I just told it, use all the information in the following document and write an example of a social media post. So instead of creating a post from scratch, our AI will take a look at the campaign brief, the audience, the message, and even the tone, and suggest a post that you can use in channels like Facebook or LinkedIn. Let's take a look at one of them here. That's a great way to go from the campaign idea to the ready to share content without spending extra time writing or brainstorming. Now, let's take another look at our board. We can see that it's packed with information, and where there is a lot of data, it can get hard to track everything. And this is where one of my favorite features come in, board views. To create a board view, you can just click here on the plus, and you can choose which one you would like to. In my case, I'm going to add a table view. Board views will help you organize your board in a way that is clear, focused, and easy to navigate. You can create as many views as you want, and you can change the filters here. So for example, I'm going to choose the ones that are assigned for this week. Now we can see only the items that are relevant for that filter. And each one will have their own filters, their hidden columns, or sorting rules, and you can change all of that here. So you can look at the same information from different angles. In my case, I actually created several table views that they are filtered by groups. So we can see, for example, here that we have the ones that are ready to launch, the ones that we are working on it, or the ones that they are in progress. And this way, instead of one massive board full of every single campaign, my team can just go straight from their view that is relevant for them and focus on their part of the process. Now, let's take a look at another really useful view for the Llama Lab team, the Assigned to Me one. Their team is big, and they have several people assigned to the project. It would be great if they could have one view for each person that they can see exactly what is assigned just to them. But of course, we're not going to create 20 different table views and filter it by person. And this is where the Me Dynamic filter comes to save us. And honestly, it's one of my favorite features as well. You just need to click here on Filter and then select Me Dynamic. When selected, it will automatically show each user only the items that are assigned to them. So instead of creating a separate view for every team member, Monday does it for you. It's one of the easiest ways to keep everyone focused on their own priorities without extra setup. Board views can make it much easier to focus. Instead of one huge board, you get smaller, clearer, and more personalized version of the same data. Now, I would just like to remind you one more time that we can always add more columns to the board, besides the ones that are connected to the ones that we have in the form. In our case, I added 3 columns here. I added a manager column to assign who's responsible for each campaign. We also have a status column to track progresses, in which I would choose the status labels that are relevant for my team. So we have completed, stuck, and ready to launch, and you can always edit and change the color and the name of every single label. And I also added a formula column to calculate the priority of the project. I know this formula is big, but I would just like to take a few minutes to explain what it does. It combines 2 informations that comes from the form: the level of complexity of the project that we can see here, and also the launch date. And based on that, the formula will tell us what is the priority that should be given to that project. And as you can see, some of my item lines are different colors. I wanted to highlight items that are critical or high priority for my team to make it even more visual. The way I did this is by using conditional coloring. And if you're not familiar with it, let me show you how to do it. You just need to click here on the 3 dots, select conditional coloring, and then you just need to add the condition and the color that you would like to see. So we can change everything right here. Let me change to a different color and you see how we can save it. Okay, so we discussed enough about the board structure. I just want to add one more thing before we can move on. In every item or sub-item on your board, you'll always see a conversation bubble or the update section. This is the place where you can keep the conversation with your team. It's a place to ask questions or even ask checklists or add files, whatever you need to make the conversation going on. And you don't need to leave the board in order to talk to each other. Now, let's talk about how much we can save time automating processes and how to make Monday work for us. We know that our team is working on a tight schedule, right? And we need to make sure that people are being notified every time that a project is created, and not only by that, but also to make sure that the project is ready to launch a week before it is supposed to go live. Imagine if we had to set a reminder for every single person on my team to make sure that they know exactly that the launch is tomorrow, or to check what happened if the status is still not marked as ready to launch a week before the launch date. Well, fortunately, you can create automations to do all of that for us. By clicking here in the Automation Center, you'll find infinite ways to reduce manual tasks and also use Monday to send reminders. In the Automation Center, you have the options to use ready templates or create custom ones. We will build custom ones today, but I highly recommend you check the Template Center because we have many good alternatives here. Here's what we're going to build today. The first one will be when an item is created, to notify the marketing director that they need to assign someone to the project. In that case, I'm the marketing director, so I'm going to say, hey, please assign someone to the project, to this project. And I'm going to choose me here. And now every time that a new item is created, I'll make sure to know that I need to assign someone without having to pay attention to the board and check if a new item was created. The second one is to make sure that we will not get into the launch day with surprises. So what we're going to choose is to say that a week before the launch date, so we're going to say that when the date arrives, and we will say 7 days before. So 7 days before the launch date, when the campaign should go live, if the status of the item is not ready to launch, we would like to check with the person responsible for the project what is going on there. So we're going to say notify. And we will, hey, can you please check the status of this project? We'll mark it as done, and then we're going to select the person who is assigned to the project itself. Another one that we're going to use, and this one I already built and I'm going to show you how it looks, is that when the manager is finally assigned to the project after the director added them to the item, we will create several sub-items that we're going to use as a checklist. So in our case, let me show you how it looks. So basically, every time that someone is assigned, we will have a whole checklist. So we have check the doc, briefing with the requester, upload first drafts, collect feedback, schedule posts, and ensure automations are set. Of course, it's really important to remember that all the sub-items and the checklist that I created are relevant for my team. And you can always just go here and change exactly the sub-item to what you need. This is just an example. I created several ones, and you can choose the one that are relevant for you. And something super simple and a very cool automation that I love creating is the one that every time that a status changes to something, to move the items across groups. And that way we can save a lot of time and avoid errors, because as you can remember, the groups that I divided in my board, they are the ones related to the status of the project. So every time that the status changes, for example, to ready to launch, let's move the item to ready to launch. And that way we don't need to expect that someone might forget to move the items around. You can build as many automations as you need. The sky is the limit here, and you can always find more time that can be saved with automations. Okay, so far we organized our board and we set the automations that we need, right? So now let's talk about visual data. We know that our team is working with several launch dates at the same time, and let's agree, scrolling all the time to see what is the next launch date, it's not the way that things should work in monday.com. And this is why, by clicking here, I added a calendar view as the one that we can see right now. That way, we can have a visual timeline showing exactly when each campaign will go live. We don't need to guess or to worry that we will miss something. And in our case, by clicking here in the settings, I actually color it by the status of the item. So that way we can know exactly what's the stage of it without leaving the calendar. As you can see here, we even have the colors here at the bottom. And besides having a clear calendar, we know that marketing teams are all about graphics and metrics. They want to know which department is requesting more, what is the most used communication channel, or how many projects are not ready, and so it goes. And here is where other widgets such as number or charts can come really in handy. You just need to click here and add the widgets that you want. The first 3 widgets that I created here are a number widget, and each of them is set to show us the different information. You just need to click here and add a number widget. The first one is to show how many requests we received this month, how many are still waiting for a manager, or how many are completed. And I also filter each of them by this month, so we can see only the relevant numbers for that period of time. Now, in order to see graphics and metrics, I added several chart widgets. Again, I just click here on Add Widget and I added chart. They will help us dive deeper into the data and get insights from it. The first one will show the number of campaigns in each status. The second one will focus on team workload, showing how many campaigns each team member is responsible for. I just want to take a quick moment here to quickly show how we can create this chart from scratch. So we click here on chart, and then we're going to customize the columns of the chart. So when we click here on the settings, I'm going to select on X, the manager assign. On Y, I'm going to choose to count the items. And an extra thing here that I really like is that we can customize and change the color for each of the bars. For example, I'm going to say that Aria is red. I'm supposed to be green. Agar is going to be another green. And so it goes. And that way we can customize and make it even more visual, as you can see here. Now, the third one is a pie chart that shows the percentage of the request by department. For example, how much of work is coming from product, from sales, or from HR. And you can see here that I just went to the settings and I changed the chart type to a pie. And finally, we have another pie chart that shows the channels most requested for campaigns. And this will help the team quickly understand where most of their marketing efforts are focused on. These are just examples of charts that make sense to me. But again, you can just think about which ones you need for your team and which data you would like to see. And you just need to click here to tell your story and make data come true. All these widgets, the calendar, numbers, and charts will give you a clear picture of what is happening, what's ahead, and where to focus next, and help us make smarter and faster decisions. Okay, so you might be wondering now, but what if I'm a manager working with multiple boards, lots of data, and I would like to see all the charts in one place, or even combine them to find other insights and compare information? Well, don't worry, you came to the right place, and we just need to create a dashboard to do that. You just need to click here on plus and create a dashboard. And this is what we have, and we're able to connect all the boards that we want here on the connected boards. A dashboard is a space where you can connect multiple boards and view all your information in one place, creating overview widgets or comparing information side by side. All you have to do, as I just showed you before, is to click here and choose the widget that you would like to explore. It gives everyone from marketing team to management a visual summary of progress, performance, and workload all at a glance. Now, let's recap what we've built together. Our marketing team at Llama Lab needs to keep all the information in one place. Several departments want to request marketing campaigns, and that's why we created forms that are completely customizable, from required to conditional questions and shareable QR codes. Just a quick reminder that we have an amazing webinar about forms. All the answers from the form will go to the marketing campaign request board, and this is the place where all the magic happens. They have teams who can share external websites with their designs or references, and the link column allows us to check them without having to leave the board. Instead of checking column by column, they created a Monday doc and used AI to summarize all the columns. Besides that, they also use the doc to share live data and communication between the team. They managed to save a lot of time by using AI columns, from instantly creating a post idea based on the summary we have in the Monday doc, from translating the post and helping the Latin American team to easily access everything that is important in Spanish. With the board views here on top, they were able to turn their board into a smaller piece of data, creating table views that can be filtered, sorted, and colored according to what is important to see. Let's not forget about the columns that we added to the board, such as the manager person, the status, and the formula column. And also that they don't need to leave the board to talk to each other by using the update section. They knew how important it is to avoid manual work, and they found in the automations a great way to automate the process, avoid human error, and save a lot of time. The sky is the limit here when it comes to find a way to automate your workflow, from notifications, status changes, reminders, moving items around, to sending emails. And then we finally saw how they chose to display their data and use a calendar view to have an overall view of all the launch dates, and created several widgets with the relevant information that can be used for reports, data analysis, and insights. And let's not forget about the dashboard, in which they added all the information from multiple boards. And for the last time, a quick reminder that everything we saw today is customizable, and part of the fun is finding and building a workflow that works for you and your team. Before we go, I just wanted to talk about the next steps. When the campaign is about to go live and we need a place where to manage it across multiple channels. We have our new Monday campaign product, designed especially for the marketing teams who want to plan and manage these processes inside Monday. We won't dive into it today, but I highly recommend that you check it out. It connects to everything that we discussed today. Now, showtime! You're ready to start building your own campaign request board in monday.com. Everything I showed you today, forms, docs, AI, automations, and widgets, you can try right now in your own account. So go ahead and see which processes you can optimize and automate. I can't wait to see what you're going to build next. Thank you so much for watching, and you're welcome to join our Q&A session, which will start in a minute. See you there, and thank you so much.